Yo, what's up guys? You're back with your man Tech Nick, your go-to guy for videos on the latest tech. Now today really is about the latest tech. Once again, I have the Lenovo Z6 over here. Now this is just the vanilla version. We had two other versions that came out back in April. That was the Lenovo Z6 Youth Edition and the Pro Edition. The Youth Edition is pretty much half of this in the specs department and the price department, and the Z6 Pro pretty much has the strongest processor around, being the Snapdragon 855 chipset. I'm not going to speak too much about those phones, though I will throw some references to the Z6 Pro on what I think is better and what I think is worse as well. So this is practically just the vanilla Z6, which in my opinion should have been released first and the Pro should have come later. But nevertheless, let's leave it at that. This phone costs $265, 18,000 rupees, or 1,899 Chinese RMB. So that is really budget range here, guys. And talking about budget range here, we have a 4,000 milliampere cell that can charge with a 15-watt charging block in the box. We have support for a microSD card support, so that $265 price tag of the starting price sounds really great, since you can just get the 6 gigs of RAM, 64 gig variants, and just throw a microSD card in as well. We also have a headphone jack, and we have a wonderful 6.39-inch teardrop notch AMOLED display which supports HDR10 content. And let me just get to this point right now if you guys are waiting for it. Are you waiting? Are you guys there? 120 Hz refresh rate on this panel. Now in my opinion that should have been in the Lenovo Z6 Pro since it has a beefier chip. But speaking about the chipset, this has a Snapdragon 730 chipset, which is actually newer than the current generation Snapdragon 855 chipset. It is running on 8nm technology, just like the Exynos chip that Samsung released this year to compete with the Snapdragon 855 chipset. So it has really good architecture in, so we should get pretty good battery life because of the 8nm technology that we have in this device with that 4,000 milliampere cell. Now the 730 was released alongside a 730G. Just to clarify, this is not a Snapdragon 730G, this is the standard 730. The 730G stands for gaming, so it means the GPU has increased, and even then only about 5% performance boost. So if you guys are looking for a phone with the latest and greatest Snapdragon 730 chipset, don't get your mind set on the G or the non-G. You're going to pretty much get the same performance regardless in that respect. Now that processing chip pretty much beats the latest and greatest flagship chipsets of a year or two ago. I'm really excited to see how this phone looks on the inside, and tear up that box and get going, guys. This is Tech Nick, and without further ado, let's unbox this bad boy. There is a cover. Once again, it's a little silicone case, pretty much the same one that came with the Z6 Pro. We'll slap that on later. We have a USB Type-C cord over there. Now remember, this is just limited to 2.0 speed, so don't expect fast OTG or transfer speeds between your PC and your phone. And then you guys can see that we have a regular Type A port on the other side. With the Lenovo Z6 Pro, we had Type C to Type C, which could do reverse wired charging. I'm not sure if it could do this. We'll have to touch on that in the full review. Okay, so we're gonna pop that aside. And then the last thing that I can see in the box here is indeed the charging block. As you guys can see, the charging block supports 18-watt charging, though as we have come to expect with Lenovo and their lies, this will only support 15 watts on the phone itself. And speaking about the phone comes with a 4,000 milliampere battery, so I'm expecting around similar scores in charging up the battery, probably just under 2 hours from 0 to 100 with that 4,000 milliampere cell, since it's using the same battery and the same wattage charging as the Z6 Pro as well, so don't expect the fastest charging speeds in that department. There's only one color in this. It almost comes in like a black shimmery blue option. So let's peel this off so I can give you guys a better look at what it looks like. Okay guys, so there it is off the bat. It looks really black in the video here. I can definitely see tinges of blue. I'll try to give you guys a little bit of a better outlook on that. There we go. I'm not sure if you guys can see that. You can see it's almost like a bluish black. I really am digging that color. It's like so subtle and neat. The cameras look pretty cool over there, but we'll get to that in a sec. Before we jump onto the phone itself, let's just pop it in this cover so I can show you guys what the cover looks like. Okay guys, it's just a regular cover that you would see from any other phone manufacturer at this price point. No hard case over here, nothing too protective, though this is pretty decent day one usage. I'm going to go ahead and power it on while we take a look around the phone. Okay, so there we have a power button over here. It is not textured. I do prefer that. We also have a volume rocker. I do prefer it when they're split. Nevertheless, it feels nice and clicky. And then at the top over here, we have what looks to be an IR blaster. I'll confirm that with you guys later. And we have some antenna strips over there. On the left, it's nice and clean right the way to the bottom. And then at the bottom over here, we do indeed have the dual SIM tray. You guys can clearly see we have SIM 2, SIM 1, or micro SD card support. So that's really good to see in such a budget-friendly phone with these top top-end specs over here. Then taking a look at the bottom of the phone here, guys, we have a single downward firing speaker, and then we have a USB Type-C port and the wonderful 3.5mm headphone jack. Now, the one thing I just want to mention to you guys real quick is that that speaker that you guys saw at the bottom there is indeed paired with this top earpiece scroll over here, and they have included Dolby Atmos this time around as well, so we should get some pretty decent stereo sounding speakers there. Now, looking at the back of the phone, we have the nice little neat Lenovo sign over there, and then we have a 24 megapixel AI triple camera. So here's the triple cameras over here, guys. We have one main lens which is 24 megapixels. Now, this is indeed the IMX 576, not the 586, so scrap that 4K 60 FPS recording. We'll probably just get limited to 4K 30, and other than that, we will be shooting 24 megapixel shots other than 48 megapixel shots as seen on the IMX 586 lens. Now, what this means is that both of them do interpolate down to 12 megapixels, so this will do the same thing. It will go all the way down to 12 using pixel binding to get all the way down to 12 megapixels for a better, more well-detailed shot. So you'll probably find that the 24 megapixel as opposed to the 48 megapixel will do better with just raw 24, since it will be able to handle light a little bit better. And then looking at the other two lenses that we have here, we have an 8 megapixel telephoto lens. I'm really glad that they have included a telephoto lens over here, guys. So we have 2x optical and we have 8x hybrid zoom, which is really cool. I want to check that out when we get into the phone a little bit later. And then at the bottom here, we have a 5 megapixel depth sensor for those wonderful portrait shots. Then we obviously have our little dual tone LED flash there too. In the front of the phone over here, guys, you guys can clearly see that we have that wonderful little teardrop notch over there, and that is housing a 16 megapixel camera there. So nothing really to write home about in the camera department. What is more important with regards to this phone is what is actually inside of it. So we're going to go ahead, set it up, and I'll see you on the other side. Settings completed, let's go. So this is now ZUI 11 that we're about to see over here, guys. Now this is indeed skinned on top of Android 9.0 Pi, and we should indeed see a Q update as well, though we know how Lenovo tend to be when it comes to updates. Nevertheless, it looks nice, neat, and very clean, and I just want to take a look at this display. As you guys can see, it looks really polished and really neat. It looks very clean, and the bezels look very slim as well. Now, just before we move on here, I just want to show you guys what it looks like as opposed to the Lenovo Z6 Pro over here. As you guys can see, it is using the exact same 6.39 inch display, and the teardrop notch looks almost identical. I actually think the top bezel on the vanilla Z6 looks a little bit slimmer than the one on the Z6 Pro. At the bottom, I think that their bottom bezels are very similar. I think the overall design language of the phones are very similar in that regard. Another thing I just want to touch on before getting straight into the vanilla Z6 is that the back of the Z6 Pro is certainly glass, and the Z6 certainly feels plastic, though I must say that the sides feel aluminum and the top is of course glass as well. So I have gone ahead and plugged in my fingerprint sensor as well as my face, so we're going to go ahead and check that out. We do have an optical sensor at the bottom here, pretty much the same one as seen on the Lenovo Z6 Pro, and as that one, I did say that it was a good toss-up between consistency and speed, and in my opinion was definitely better than the Xiaomi Mi 9's one, since that gave me quite a fair bit of issues. Nevertheless, this is nice and quick. It seems to be doing its rounds pretty well, and I'm really happy with it right off the board. And now we're going to go ahead and test out the facial recognition of the device. So I'm going to go ahead and lock it and bring it up here, try to get my face in best as I can. Okay, so as you guys can see, it is certainly not the fastest out there because of the little animation that it has going there, and I did check with the Lenovo Z6 Pro before it, and there is no way of changing that. It is always going to be there, I guess pretty much similar to the Samsung Galaxy S line ranges with their little LED effect going on with the camera lens over there. Now I have indeed looked through the settings of the phone, and no matter where I look, I can only find the HDR10 support. I cannot find any option for changing between 60 and 120 Hertz, and that is one of the main buying points of this phone. What I can do for you guys right here now is pull up the Z6 Pro over here, and I'm going to go ahead and slow down this clip as much as I can to see if there really is a difference between the two. With double the refresh rate, I'm pretty sure you should in essence see a difference here, so let's go ahead and check it out. So that's all I can really show you guys for now. In my opinion, looking at it in real life sample, I can't see too much of a difference, but it definitely feels a tad smoother. So it must for sure have a faster refresh rate panel. Before we wrap this video up, guys, I want to go ahead and quickly test out the camera app. So we're going to pull ahead my trusty little Groot over here. As you guys can see, we have the regular one-time shot there. We have the 2 times on the telephoto over there. And then last but not least, we have that depth effect shot 2. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think of the camera samples of the phone so far. And just to show you guys in the video department, we are limited to 4K 1080p and 720p recording, and because they don't mention the FPS here at all, my guess is that it is all limited to 30, and I'm pretty sure that's what it will be across the board. So there you guys have the regular Lenovo Z6. It has a wonderful chipset and a 120Hz refresh rate in it. It looks absolutely incredible. I really do dig the design of the back. It feels nice and sturdy, and I'm really enjoying the fact that they have paired it with a 120Hz refresh rate screen there. I'm really excited to give it a run for its money in my speed tests, camera tests, and even more of those, so stay tuned for those ones, guys. But so far, I'm pretty impressed with the Lenovo Z6. So there you guys have it, the Lenovo Z6 Vanilla Edition. Now the reason I say vanilla is because that's the name, nothing else. It is not the Pro, it is not the Youth Edition, it is the Vanilla Z6. And as a whole, I guess you could kind of say it is a bit vanilla, in the sense that it does not have the latest and greatest Snapdragon chip in it. We can't really clarify if it does indeed come with a 120Hz panel. I'll do some tests on it and get back to you on that one, guys. It is plastic at the back, so it is a bit vanilla, but other than that, guys, I think this thing's pretty flavored. It has a really awesome color at the back here. I'm really digging this like black to bluish fade over there. This is the only color right now, though knowing Lenovo's trends, they'll probably release a couple more colors in the next couple weeks. So if you guys do want to import one from China for around $265 US or 18,000 rupees, maybe wait a bit to see what other colors come packed in the phone. Nevertheless, guys, there is a wonderful microSD card support slot there alongside the dual SIM tray. We have a huge 4000 mAh in the back with fast charging up to just 15 watts, which is nothing to brag about, though it is indeed still fast charging. Now, on a better note, we have triple cameras over there. We have a 24 megapixel lens, 8 megapixel telephoto lens, and we have a wonderful 5 megapixel depth sensor lens. And many phones just come paired with a 2 megapixel depth sensor lens, so that's another bonus right there. This phone looks really awesome as an entire package, and I think that there is indeed an IR blaster there. But what really strikes me is that wonderful new Snapdragon 730 chipset. Since it is 8nm technology, I'm really interested to see how it does with this 4000 mAh battery in my drain test coming very soon. So stay tuned for that one, guys. Also stay tuned for some speed tests, because I do want to put this up against the new Vivo IQOO Neo, which is paired with a Snapdragon 845 chipset, which is last year's flagship chipset. So I want to see if this year's latest and greatest mid-set chip is better or on par with the latest and greatest flagship chip of 2018. I'll also be giving it a run for its money against the ridiculous 855 chipset phones as well, to see how fast it actually performs and to see if it is worth saving some cash and splashing on a phone that costs virtually nothing in the smartphone race. Let me know what you guys think of the Lenovo Z6 in the comments section down below. It is a really well priced phone and could very well be the budget phone of the year. I cannot tell you that right now, but my first impressions are very strong. Guys, I hope that you enjoyed watching this video as much as I did unboxing the Lenovo Z6. And until next time, guys, this is Tech Nick.